Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is patterns of African American migration in the United States. And we're fortunate this morning to have with us to talk about patterns of African American migration in the United States, Dr. DPadgett. Dr. Padgett is a geographer from Tennessee State University in the Department of History, Geography, and Political Science. And of course, Dr. Padgett, let me welcome you to the show this morning. And to tell you how delighted, Dr. Padgett, we are to have you with us, and to remind you that you've been with us on another occasion, and I think you gave us some excellent information about the census of 2000. And so what we'd like to do today is to talk about not only the census of 2000, but to be specific in terms of dealing with African Americans and the various censuses, and to have you to deal with that information under what we call patterns of African American migration in the United States. But before we do that, Dr. Padgett, let's have you to give us some information about Dr. DPadgett, to have you to give us some information about your background, your education, and some of the things that you believe to be important and eventually leading you to where you are today. And then we'll get into some of the other areas.
Yes, I'm just completing my second year at Tennessee State University. I previously taught at Oberlin College and also Austin Peay State University. I'm a graduate of the University of Florida at Gainesville and Western Kentucky University, degrees in geography and also a lot of environmental engineering and geology. Right now at Tennessee State University, we're working very hard to extend the work of our Geographic Information Systems lab to the community, working with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhoods, working with Vanderbilt University, working with several nonprofit organizations in the community to try to get geographic information and demographic information to people in the community for their use. There's a lot of information that geographers compile that's very useful to nonprofits and government entities.
Very good. You know, Dr. Padgett, I think one of the things that many people don't understand has to do with the topic that we're dealing with today, dealing with what we call patterns of African American migration. And what I'd like for you to do is to look at the African American population in the United States from its earliest beginning, and to talk about the movement of that population from certain areas to other areas, and at the same time to give us what you have already indicated, geographical information about it, the kind of information that only geographers have dealing with this. And I think that if we could do it that way, then we'll be able to broaden the show today.
Okay.
Let's do it from that perspective.
Okay, well, first of all, obviously, in terms of migration, the migration that we're mostly familiar with in terms of people of African descent is forced migration. However, there is evidence that has been compiled by Dr. Sheikh Anta Diop and Ivan Van Sertima that Africans migrated without force to the Americas from about the year 800 BC. That was mostly in Central and South America. In terms of North America, of course, we first begin to see Africans in the Americas beginning in 1619 is the normally established date. And that population was primarily concentrated on the East Coast, especially around Virginia. And so the first migratory pattern of Africans actually was toward the South and the West, which approximately followed the expansion of the cotton industry. So as the cotton belt expanded westward, African people went with it. And so by the time we got to the height of the slavery era, we had nearly 99% of people of African descent living in what is recognized as the South. And of course, they were there for the purposes of agriculture or the labor portion of the agricultural economy of the South.
In other words, the very